Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is KarQ, and next on the updated tip list is McCree, and I've got my longtime friend and natural dancer, John.
Hi guys, you may have heard of me as WantedOW, but I go by John W. Lin these days, and I play a lot of McCree.
So let's start this video off with the general tip.
My general tip I always give to new McCree players is to work on your mindset and playstyle. Think of every shot from McCree as pressure, not necessarily as a kill. For example, as I'm moving around the map, and enemies are not behind shields or natural covers, I would shoot them to apply pressure. This pressure would force them to reposition, wait for healing, and stop them from shooting my team. It's the same for his high noon. It's not an ability to kill the entire team, but it has a lot of zoning potential and is good for getting a pick or two when you're using it alone.
With that out of the way, let's get started.
If Diva is throwing a bomb out, I like to flash it to stop its momentum completely to save my teammates if they can't get behind cover. Also, if you know a Diva is trying to fly up for a bomb, immediately high noon to kill the baby and try to roll away into cover. The charge up time to get the skull against the baby Diva is really quick. Against the Orisa, the fan roll fan combo can create a ton of space for your team. Each fan the hammer does 300 damage, so you're doing ideally up to 600 damage to an Orisa or a shield. Additionally, whenever an Orisa throws at her ult, you should always be able to roll out of it, especially after the ult range nerf and McCree roll buff. You have no excuse to get caught in it. Reinhardt is pretty straightforward. Your flashbang can stun him out of his shield, so just make sure you flash above the shield if he's looking at you straight on, or you can fake the flash above and throw it below if you think he's going to shield high. McCree is actually a pretty good counter to Roadhog. You can flash both his Take a Breather and his Whole Hog, meaning you can shut down most of his utility and pretty much make him useless. If you think he's going to hook you, roll laterally, not forward or back. I like to walk in one direction and then roll the opposite when he starts his hook animation. This is super important. In a 1v1, your roll is your lifeline. McCree's roll recently got a buff, which means it's easier to roll out of Sigma's ult if he targets you. If you don't have your roll available, just use high noon immediately. You might be able to build up a skull to either kill him or one of his teammates from this new angle. Don't be afraid to 1v1 a Winston. As long as you can avoid his initial leap damage, you can always use your flashbang and your roll to turn the fight in your favor, especially with the HP buff. Additionally, use high noon if he ever decides to primal juggle you. The most important thing to know about playing against the Wrecking Ball as McCree is pathing. If you know how he plays, you can poke him down before he engages on your team. Try to flash his power drive or his boops when he comes to engage on your team, and if he's rolling around, just pressure him with your primary fire. If he's up close and personal, double fan the hammer and melee will do more than 600 damage and most likely will kill him. The biggest tip against Zarya is to understand that her bubble only has 200 HP, and each bullet from Fan the Hammer does 50 damage. This means that you can fan the hammer with 4 bullets to pop her bubble, then instantly cancel it with flash into a headshot on squishy heroes. I broke the bubble. For a self bubble, I would just do a full Fan the Hammer, roll into flash double headshot for the fastest burst combo available. Against Ashe, you want to save your roll to dodge your dynamite to make the 1v1 more advantageous. Sometimes though, I don't even take the 1v1s head on. I typically look to catch her off guard scoped in on someone else because of her reduced field of vision. Against Bastion, try to be an off-angle Oliver, shoot him even if he knows where you are, but make sure to jiggle peek so he doesn't get consistent damage on you. Realistically though, this is probably a 1v1 you don't want to take. Similar to Ball, if you understand Doomfist's pathing, it should be pretty easy to limit his effectiveness. If you see him seismic slam, use your roll laterally to dodge it, then flash him right after to get a cheeky fan the hammer with double headshot. If you're mid-team fight and unsure where he's slamming from, throw your flash directly below on the ground immediately after he slams you, and try to roll away to get out of his uppercut range. Doomfist usually tries to meteor strike while you're in high noon, so you can use it to bait him out, then cancel it, roll, flash, and kill him. McCree has a pretty natural advantage against Echo, so as long as you can roll away from her sticky bombs and hit your shots, you'll win every single time. Echo's hitbox extends to her wings, so I recommend aiming around her torso area. Against Genji, you want to flash over his deflect if he dashes in front of you, but if he dashes through you, flash directly below your feet. Try to keep some distance when he blades in high noons when you can see his ultimate, That way he's either forced to deflect against you or hide to wait out your ultimate, thus getting 0 value. Against Sanzo, you have an easier time aiming since you're hit scan and he's projectile. This means that you should be pressuring him as much as you can since it only takes you 3 body shots to kill him, while it now takes him 4 storm arrow body shots to kill you. Also, you can roll through his dragon if you really need to, by the way. The biggest tip as McCree against Junkrat, to kill his tire. It takes 2 shots to kill it, and if you ever see it getting close to you, roll away, which can sometimes be enough to reduce the damage so it doesn't kill you. McCree is pretty thick now, so now it takes 4 body shots to kill him. In a McCree mirror, you want to make sure you flash second, since you can stun afterwards and get more consistent shots off. But if you're playing a cat and mouse game, make sure you roll away from him when you hear him roll, because odds are he's going to try flash you and you can get out of his range. Against Mei, you can use your melee to bait out her ice block since the animations look really similar to the flash. When she puts up a wall, you can either fan row fan to break it, or fan row primary fire melee to break it slightly faster. Against Pharah, if you see her use her jump jet out in the open, immediately high noon and you can kill her almost 100% of the time. It's even better if she has a Mercy following her because then you have a free double kill. The most important thing about playing against Reaper is to force out his Wraith because it's his best ability. Bro, that man's pack, and you see that? That was the best example that I can show. I saw him, I did this, he used Wraith. You can also high noon and build the skull while he's in Wraith form. Against Soldier, you ideally want to play against him close with your flash because Soldier can out-sustain your damage mid-range with his healing pad. However, you can still win at mid-range as long as you dodge his Helix rocket with your roll. Also, I really want to emphasize on how much distance you can cover now with your roll into flash combo. You can see this bot that's about 20 meters away. Your roll covers about 10 meters. So you can catch enemies about 17 meters away. Against Sombra, you can force her translocator by getting up close and meleeing her because she'll TP out to try avoid getting flashed. Ever since the EMP change, it's much easier to flash Sombra out of her ultimate as long as you can anticipate it. I flashed her! By listening to the sound cue or seeing her translocator in the air. The only real tip against Symmetra is that if you high noon when she has her ultimate up, you can break it if there are 3 enemies behind it. Additionally, there is a situational tip here where you can flash her sentries to stun them before you destroy to minimize your damage taken. If a Torb is using his Molten Core, he's stuck in it until he finishes. As long as you don't stand in his coom, you won't receive any damage in return during that time, and that's the best time to engage on him. Against Tracer, try to remember her original positioning before she uses a recall in a 1v1 duel so you can flash headshot her immediately. Additionally, you can also use High Noon to bait her into one-clipping you, and then you can just cancel flash headshot her. Against Widow, just don't peek her if you're far away, it's that simple. But once you get to mid or close range, you can take the duel now that her health has been nerfed. If you have any kind of damage modifier at all, such as Mercy damage boost or Discord Orb, you can one-shot her headshot as long as you're within your fall-off range. Against Ana, it's better to just pressure her since she'll be sitting scoped in healing her team in the back. If you catch her out in a 1v1, just use your roll diagonally to dodge your sleep dart and then finish her off with a flashbang combo. Against Leptis, use Fan the Hammer against his lamp as it's faster than 3 individual shots. Other than that, the best time to shoot him is when he jumps with his Nikes since he has a predictable fall pattern. Just like Reinhardt, flash over break shield and then you're set up for an easy double headshot. This is a real high risk, high reward play because if you miss your flash, you're dead if she shield dances correctly. Additionally, you can keep your distance and poke her down to break her shield pretty easily. High Noon is your best weapon against a Lucio, especially if he's a crazy Reddit Lucio and you're having trouble hitting him. If he's in a skybox, just High Noon him. If he drops the beat, just High Noon him. Basically, if you see a Lucio going for a play, just press Q, smile. Against Mercy, this one's really complicated. To use your High Noon when she Valks and kill her when she reses brow. Against Moira, just try to bait out her fade with melee, then chase her with the roll and get a flashbang combo off. against Zen. I like to aim for his body since his hitbox is wide and juicy. Moreover, you can use your high noon while Zenyatta's in Transcendence to kill his teammates because the burst damage goes through trance healing. If the Zen is alone, you can start charging it right before his transcends so you can kill him the moment he exits.
And that's all for this episode. The full playlist is linked in the description. Thanks for checking it out, and I'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for having me, Nathan. You can find me at John W. Lin at twitch.tv, or you can find me at JWantedOW on YouTube.